All right. Well, welcome. Tonight I got Tim, who's running for mayor of Mundelein. Tim, welcome. Thanks for coming on. And we're gonna start things off really complicated for you.
Sure.
Okay. The hardest question I think you'll answer tonight. If you get this one wrong, though, I think it's gonna just kick everything downhill for you.
Sure.
The best wings in Mundelein.
The best wings?
Yeah, buffalo wings.
Thanks for the memories.
Okay, good. You passed. You passed. You passed.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't want to get on the bad side of the Schultz family. We have enough challenges. We tried to take down their sign.
I remember that. Were
Now
you
and
on
now
the board at that time?
I was on EDC, so I was one of those four volunteers out there going to the businesses telling them, hey,
Gosh.
what we're doing. I think overall the ordinance made sense, but it was too rigid.
Yeah.
So there were just certain things. At the end of the day, it all worked out. But it was, yeah, yeah. I just saw
That's it.
I just saw the little guy, Jim, the son, Jim. We had kind of an open house up at the village because we're doing a restructure, a total rebuild on that East Hawley. Unfortunately, it's gonna impact those businesses when it rolls.
So, what other favorite hot spots do you have in Mundelein?
Well, I'm a crossroads guy.
Okay,
Again, I've been in Mundelein my whole life. So worked at Bill's. The pizza Bill's my guy.
nice.
So, but my go-to place is I'm easy to find. I tell people, I'm very personable. I'm very approachable. I'm more apt. I like more having the interaction with the residents. First and foremost, I tell them I'm your neighbor, right?
Right.
I live in this town. I have a vested interest, and I can be found any Wednesday at Crossroads, anywhere from 4 to 5, 4 to 6, and then
Okay.
every Saturday at Crossroads for breakfast, 8 to 9. I meat my brothers there, and whatever nieces and nephews show up, and then I've got a couple other places where I go on a consistent basis, whether it be for Fairhaven Auto on Saturdays at 2 o'clock to listen to all the old men complain about the potholes, the leaf pickup, just listen, that kind of thing. So there are a couple of hidden gems. We have a little restaurant. I call it's the old Jewel Osco in town on Seymour and Hawley. It's called Los Perez. They have a really good restaurant back in there for some really authentic Mexican food. And Sergio is pretty cool, and it's very affordable. The portions you get when you walk out of there, it's pretty cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, but my go-to place is Crossroads, and then on Fridays we pick up roasted chicken at Emil. So I kind of keep it in the neighborhood.
Love it. Love it. That's kind of what you want your mayor to do, right?
Well, now they know where to find me, right? If somebody's got beef, I'm easy to find. I'm out in the community a lot. I'm really big into high school. I'm a Mustang. I graduated from I've been an incubator mentor up there since the initiation of the program, but roughly I think 8 years ago. I'm
Very cool.
the alumni chair for the Booster Club. And on any given Friday night, me and my brother has been doing the varsity chains up there for 15, 20 years. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome.
that's kind of my way of kind of staying connected. The kids keep me young. And again, it's my way of kind of giving back to a community that's given me pretty much. That's kind of how I was formed, growing up on the streets here in Motherline.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on it there a little bit, but so tell me your story. What led you to say, hey, you know what? I think mayor's a avenue I want to try to make a shot at.
It's I got involved at the high school. That was going to be my passion. My wife and I made a conscious decision. I've only lived out of this town. Probably the first 2 years first 10 years we got married. I lived in Deerfield. And when we had our boy, we moved back to the home I live in now. And it's cool because I live on off of McCray and Victoria Road. Well, Colin McCray's my cousin. So, so I got some skin, there's got some heritage, but
Yeah.
I really had no thought of getting in on this side of the equation. But I had a high school classmate that worked at the village, and she called me one day and said, "Hey, I think you'd be good at being a trustee. Run." I'm like, "Well, I never really gave much thought." And I said, "Well, okay, I'll run." And it's very similar over the last 4 years. I've got the history. I know where we've been, right? Where we were at, the perception of our community. I got nudged to run for mayor. And part of the reason is I'm aligned with the direction of our community right now, where we're going.
Sure. Where it's currently going.
Where it's going. And I mean, we have a lot to be proud of.
Yeah.
You look at that South Corridor, and it doesn't get talked about enough. Okay. And we get a lot of, on social media, you'll get a lot of back and forth about vacancies, right? But our vacancy rate is really good in the Village of Mundelein. We've got a solid vacancy rate. Coming out of COVID, I think a lot of municipalities have struggled.
Yep.
There's, for the most part, we're overdeveloped on commercial and retail. So we're kind of in the process of right sizing. We do have a couple, and I don't call them eyesores, but you always hear about the old Village Hall, okay? No matter where you go, you hear about it, okay? And then they call it the old Walgreens on the corner of Folly and Seymour by the Starbucks. Well, I call that the National Tea. It used to be a National Tea food store. So part of the problem with, and again, I'm not a real estate expert, but I try to tell people part of the problem with that location is there's no parking. When that building was there, that was the only thing on the lot. It was a grocery store. They moved around it. So, I mean, I think, it's really about keeping the progress we have going, enhance the density down in, what I will call our core downtown area.
Yep.
That density is going to create more opportunities for people to convert customers. It's also going to be more walkable, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Living across the street, somebody might, can walk across the street over an Oak Trail. Maybe someday somebody will be willing to take an opportunity and make an investment in that property.
Yeah. These properties outside of the old Village Hall, are they owned by individuals? Are they owned by nothing else is municipal owned property?
No, they're property rights. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I got involved. I didn't understand. I looked at all the village owned property at the time. Like, wow, what are we buying all this property for? Well, you make those investments because it's easier to put together, more efficient to put together deals with developers when they only have to deal with one person. So we've had a lot of interest per se. We call it the bank triangle. That's Seymour. That's Chicago. Yeah, it's Chicago. Oh, that might be Morris to Chicago, whatever it's good. But there's three owners, so it makes it more complicated. The old Village Hall, I mean, there's still property rights in this state and country. It's really we don't understand why that guy's so difficult to work with. We're trying to put more pressure on him. Either if you're not going to rent it out or get a tenant in there, sell it.
Right. It's
a beautiful building, but at the end of the day, if you look at the old Village Plaza. We have another development called Flannery and Collins that we hope that is going to break ground this summer. That's going to fill out the remainder space in that area there. It's going to be, apartments and townhomes, and then along Hawley Street, a small proposed 5,000 square feet in retail. There's going to be 2,100 units. All right. So there might be somebody no different than the old Abernathy building that sat empty for 15, 20 years. Maybe not 15, 20, but it's been empty for a while. And you had the Bose family willing to take a risk buying that property and dropping another $1 million in it and make it a restaurant. And the reason they're doing that is because they see the opportunity to convert customers. So a lot of it's economics.
That's the challenge. I always love on Facebook and the other socials. They're like, I wish they would do this. I wish they would do that. Like, it's private property. Somebody owns that property. Like, the village can't make them make that property into XYZ. But, trying to go out and about and find the avenues and find those entities that are considering or would consider and pitch them on why Mundelein's the up and coming place for them to invest in there. So if we have any future or potential investors listening in, what's that pitch? What's the pitch of why Mundelein? And why now?
Why Mundelein? Because, number one, we've got the infrastructure to grow. I mean, I wish I could take all the credit, but their previous boards, previous mayors, they made the tough decisions, whether it be bringing in Lake Michigan water, the expansion of our, people. Our most important asset in our village is our water treatment facility. Me personally, being a Mundelein guy, I like that it's over in Libertyville. Okay. There's kind of an irony there. So we've got the capacity we've got the team at 300 Plaza Circle that is good to work with. And we've got we're a very diverse community. So we've a lot of opportunities for workers, and we have a lot of great amenities. The difference between Mundelein and we get compared to Libertyville a lot. If you look at what Libertyville's got, you walk a quarter mile east or a quarter mile west of Milwaukee Avenue, there's density. So there's people walking there, and they've had that walk where they've had that Milwaukee Avenue for years. We're just spread out.
Sure.
I look at it. We're just a little bit different. We've got as many good restaurants and offerings, but
it's just not all in a strip right down Main Street. You've got your,
and so we can do a better job of finding a way to communicate that. But I think why you come to Mundelein is we're the second largest municipality right now in Lake County, and I think a lot of great things. We've got a great school district. We've got good schools, and for the most part, it's really about the services that we currently provide, with the revenues we bring in. I mean, we've got a great staff, a solid police force. Our public works team is awesome.
So yeah, you hit it right there with the revenues you bring in. The number one issue, and every time I ran for office, everybody I talked to is that lovely property tax and taxes overall. And we're in a unique situation here in the burbs, and then also having, TIF districts, and also having what is the LGDF, that is the governor and the legislatures have promised for decades now that they're going to, maybe not quite decades, but forever now, saying that they're going to restore that, which they're not.
Not going to happen.
No, they cut the grocery tax, which as a consumer is fantastic, but it actually hurts the municipalities to be able to do that. So talk me through, or talk about those tensions, the plans, we all want better roads. We all want better infrastructure no matter where we're at, but we also don't want to pay any more than we're already paying, in taxes. We don't want our taxes going up.
First of all, I tell people, hey, nobody wants to pay any more taxes. You look at the median household in Mundelein, that tax bill is roughly $8,500. Okay, in the median house. I mean, again, it's not Grand Dominion, it's not the new Cloty development. For that 80, you take that $8,500 and you look at the village's portion of that, at 14%, that's roughly $1,200 annually. So for $100 a month, you got a pretty safe community. You call 911, they're usually there in 4 to 6 minutes. There's a lot of great services you get for that, but I also understand the frustration. So I think one of the keys for our team, they do a great job of stretching the dollars, because if you look, and over the last couple of years, I don't know how we're going to shake out this year, but for the first time in a long time, our sales tax revenue exceeded our property tax revenue. Our property tax typically make up about 30% of our total revenue to operate the village on. But, when we have these discussions in the board meeting, you might have somebody that votes against the tax levy, which is, as you well know, is very dependent upon the pensions.
Yep.
You never hear what services they want to cut. You look at the grocery tax. My argument with the grocery tax, I'm in the grocery business. So you take a $200 bill, that 1%, that's $2. If you look at your average grocery or shopper, they're very smart. They have only so much disposable income they're going to spend on groceries. They're going to trade down, or they're going to buy something on sale. They're going to shop different locations. But at the end of the day, the responsibility of the municipal government is to govern within the means that they have. But it's also critical that you build relationships, no matter what side of the equation you're on, with your state, local, and federal officials. And you got to be an unapologetic advocate for your community, and you got to find a way. There's grant money out there. There's support. We've had a lot of success working with, whether it be Senator Johnson or even Congressman Schneider. And like I like to tell the residents, one of the jobs of the leaders in 300 Plaza Circle is you got to go out and get more of our tax money back into our community from our state and federal officials.
Yeah, so with that is a great, love that you're doing that, and it's definitely needed, nonpartisan. We got to get together and get stuff done for our communities with that.
Right.
But there seems to be now this teeing up tension between our state and the federal government.
Yeah.
and I don't know what's jockeying. I don't know who's doing what with it, but there's this tension growing between those two, and unfortunately, I don't see anything quickly being resolved with that. So, as a potential, as mayor, how are you going to handle that situation? How are you going to walk that line?
Yeah.
How are you going to help still advocate and bring some reasonable common sense
You know,
in some of those conversations?
I think you have to put yourself out there. I've got I've worked with Congressman Snyder and his staff and certain things in my role as mayor pro tem. I've been some events with him. I really think we just got to find a way to work through all the noise. And at the end of the day, it's that hard working family that's living on Hawley Street in one of those old ranches that's just barely getting by. We got to think about those folks, and we got to find a way to work together. And again, at the end of the day, it's about being an advocate for your community and selling you got to sell it hard and find a way to, get. I don't know if we go higher with the state. I mean, I've talked to two other mayors in the community about the local government disbursement fund. That's never going to happen. I mean, we're like what? We're under 6% now. When I think Ogilvy put it in the late 70s, early 70s, maybe late 60s, it was 10%. So, that's $2 million a year that we don't have. That's 2.5 miles of road we could repave, or water pipes we could redo.
So where do you find that then? Where do you find that difference? How do you make that up? Now, granted, it's not like it's money they're taking away from you.
Right.
It's money that's just not coming in. So how are you prioritizing, or what would you prioritize?
You're looking for revenue streams that don't impact your residents directly, per se. It's something that's not going to hit the property tax line. We've done some other things. We've got the storage facility tax. There was a lot of back and forth on that. But at the end of the day, some of the research we did, we looked at storage facilities, which was kind of interesting. The percentage of people using the storage facilities didn't live in town. Two of the facilities. I don't know about the new ones. But we have a new one going up on the south corridor, a U-Haul down there by Greg's. But it's really about looking at your staff. I mean, we run a real lean staff. When I came on the board in 2021, we did a RIF. Okay, so we were about 220 total associates. We did the RIF, got us under 200. I think we were about 185. But since then, we've added some additional residential units. We've got to consider the works development. There's just a lot of things going on, but it's not easy. Nobody wants to cut services, and you got to find a way to stretch those dollars. Again, we've got a great staff, whether it be Mr. Boucher down at the Public Works, looking at ways to stretch the fuel. We're using some kind of biofuel. Our whole fleet is some kind of, I may be using the wrong term, Chris, but we use a special fuel that stretches everything out, so it's more affordable for us. So we have a facility down there, a maintenance facility. They had the foresight to build it, repair work, and for some of the municipalities, that helps support an additional fleet person that we use to work on our vehicles.
So what other, when I was a township trustee, we did a lot of stuff with the other townships and villages and municipalities, and how we had intergovernmental agreements to be able to get things done. Like, we didn't need to buy XYZ equipment. We'll borrow it from them, and they'll borrow, whatever from us. Mundelein, I'm assuming you guys doing stuff like that as well.
Oh yeah, we have an asphalt agreement with a couple of municipalities. We buy it. We do a lot. Again, I didn't know getting into the role, if you really had to staff your municipality with all the resources that you really need, you really couldn't afford it. And I mean, there's so many acronyms, Chris, I can't remember them all. We have a couple tactical officers, on our police force, and I'm like, well, what do we need tactical officers for? Well, we're part of an acronym,
Yeah.
So when something goes sideways, they all come together and they work as a team. And it's the same with the fire department. like I said, Ann Boucher, our director of public works, is really good at working with other municipalities.
So again, I mean, you just setting these segues up like beautifully. It's like we scripted this. We did not script this. This is totally organic with this. But I mean, so you mentioned law enforcement, and you mentioned the fire department there too. So public safety is a huge issue for people here in the suburbs. Always has been, always will be. You're talking about your home, your neighborhood, your kids, your community.
I've had personal experience with situations, so that's another thing that drove me in. But yeah, public safety is a big deal. When I was out canvassing for signatures, I was walking the Grand Dominion. That was their number one priority.
Yep.
And it didn't connect with me, but it's the age group, more vulnerable, they're targeted more by all these creeps with the robocalls and the scams. So, we're a very safe community, but it's something that, Jason Seeley, he's been a chief for probably a year now, maybe a little more. We're starting to see the trend. It's been negative to be a law enforcement officer, let's face it, for the last 4 or 5 years. And we're finally at full staff. We were having a hard time getting officers because nobody wanted to get into the field. You were taking lateral officers. It was tough, but we're a community focused law enforcement agency. We're very proud of our police force, which is really kind of cool, is it's very diverse, and more than a third of it, maybe we're getting up there. We're very young. So we have at least a third of our police force has less than 10 years of service.
Okay.
Well, new ideas, they can relate more probably than some of the more seasoned guys that they've formed their things over the years. So we've got a good mix going. So I think that's to bode well for the MPD moving forward.
That's fantastic. And so how has the marijuana industry, disrupted that? I know, or the dispensary type of industries. I know Mundelein was, I think the first in the area here to have that. And there's the benefits of possible, with the extra tax revenue to it, but then there's the risks that come along with that. And unfortunately, I mean, they're popping up everywhere now, all over the place. But how's Mundelein dealt with that, and has it had an impact? And what do you see the future of that looking like?
You know what? I'm been all over. I mean, I'm a '70s guy, so I'm familiar with it. We did rise after disruption on that where they're at. Right? It caused some heartburn for some of the other long time businesses down there. And we had to work through that. We were very diligent, our staff and our teams. We worked well with that team. We approved their consumption lounge. We've approved a couple concerts that have been okay. We've had challenges. They're going to have to do a better job. There was a neighborhood just east of where they set up their concerts, and it's really not been very good for that neighborhood. And we're trying to. I don't know if they're going to do it again this year. They've been a good partner. We've had no issues down there. They have a lot of processes in place from a security perspective. From a revenue standpoint, it through COVID, like you said, we were really one of the only games in Lake County. It sustained us through COVID. But as the category, or as more dispensaries that come on board, we're seeing declines with that, with the sales tax, with the tax revenue, and that was anticipated. I think right now the board is as it comes to dispensaries, we're probably 4-2. We have a new dispensary going up in the Mundelein Crossings, the old Rosati's.
Okay.
There was a lot of discussion about that. That's an entryway, one of the entryways to our communities. The owners of the operation have assured us it's going to be low key. Of course, if you were the township and government, you see the renderings. Sometimes the renderings don't.
Yep.
So we're keeping a close eye on that because there's a neighborhood right across the street. Rises back in the industrial area, and it just impacts those industrial areas. So there's a little bit, there's a concern, but I think that the new owners or the owners know that we're keeping an eye on it. Again, if something goes sideways, our team will step in, administrative staff, and we'll address it.
Good. So the election goes well. It goes in your favor. you're sworn in. 100 days after that swearing in, how will you know you've been successful?
All I know I've been successful. I will know I've been successful if I've been able, in that 90-day period of time, I've been able to build some additional relationships with other elected officials. Because at the end of the day, you know, there's no monopoly on good ideas. So it's critical. Like I tell people, we're doing nothing different than what Arlington Heights is doing. Okay, but we're trying to create that success, but it's gonna have our spin on it. I think that I will have connected with those municipal officials, state and local officials, started building those relationships and working with those folks. My hope would be that that I'll be able to work with our team, and it would be great if we had the Bank Triangle under contract. That would be a home run. That at the end of the day, whoever's the next mayor is going to have to focus on. It's really continue the South Quarter resurgence, work on the Bank Triangle and maybe the old Village Public Works, Rogan's area. There's been a lot of interest in that, and then it's works. And then because that's going to be a legacy development. It's a 30-year project. It's only the third type of development in the country. I try to tell people, it's going to be a Patriot Plaza on steroids.
Where is this? What is this?
The Works development. Where you got? Yeah, the Works family. Oh yeah. So the Works farm, we annexed that property, and their concept is the traditional neighborhood development. So walkability, eco-friendly. The farm is going to be, this was kind of rocky and there's family's baby, and the family's moving it forward. They're going to be heavily involved in it. And the farm is going to be the foundation.
Wow. 70
acres, that's staying. And then everything around that. So you go down to Peterson Road. Yeah, Peterson to 6883 North, like by Winchester. And it's about 750 acres. So it's going to be it's going to maybe be a mixture of, apartments, but it's going to be dense and it's going to be walkable. So it's going to be almost like a city within a city.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about it, and and the reason they came to us because we have the water and sewer capabilities.
Yep, those are big things.
So that's some of the things, and then really it's about, I always go back to. Again, this is my home. So you want to make sure that Mundelein remains a place where, even in these inflationary times, a family, if you can come and raise a family and you can have a great life in a safe, prosperous community. I want to keep things going forward. We're at a tipping point. Sometimes what I've seen, you can overthink things. I mean, the government moves very slow to begin with, and there's a reason for it. It's going to be deliberate because when you make a decision, it's 30 years, right?
Yep.
There's no go back.
You don't want the government moving fast necessarily all the time.
No, because you could...
Especially locally, yeah.
Yeah, so because you want to be very cautious, but there's been a lot of things in the works for years. I mean, if you look at our strategic plan, Chris, it started in 2004, the one we're executing now. So, we got through the financial crisis. We had the great flood. We survived COVID, but 90 days. I mean, if I could get that connectivity, if I could, make sure that I've got everybody rowing the boat together on staff.
Okay.
I think we'd be in a good spot.
Excellent. All right. Now some fun time.
Yeah.
Some fun questions here. All right. If you had to give a TED talk on something unrelated to being a mayor or your current job, what would it be?
My TED talk?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a big last lecture guy. I love talk. I've been blessed to work with a lot of great mentors, right? So if I could give a TED talk, it would be to that 20, well, no, that would be the 16 to 25-year-olds. Because when the kids worked for me, I call them the kids. When I had new hires out of college, I always made them read Robert Hastings' The Station. And I said, read that, and it'll help you balance your life out. But it's really, for me, it's about being always willing to take a risk. Okay, don't be afraid to fail, because you don't want to be that person sitting in a restaurant in a corner bar or talking to your buddies when you're in your 70s saying, "Boy, I wish I'd have done that."
I wish so. Yep. Wisha.
You got to always take a risk. Be kind. Help people. You know what? Give back more than you've got. Do everything you can to give back. I mean, that's the key. Like my mantra, should I get elected, is, I'm going to treat everybody on staff the way I'd want them to treat our best customer, which are the residents and businesses.
Yeah.
I'm going to treat them with respect. I'm going to take care of their, I work for, like I said, a lot of great guys in the industry. It's about the emotional bank account. You're going to get more out of people if, it's okay to criticize somebody or to, get on them a little bit. But at the end of the day, make sure you made enough deposits back in that emotional bank account, because
absolutely,
you don't want them going home being miserable to their family.
Oh.
They're going to be they're not going to be a productive worker.
Yeah, I mean, we all need critique and criticism. It's how we grow. It's how it's delivered and the manner in which it comes. And I'm sure we could spend a couple of hours talking through all the negative ones that we've walked through over these years.
But I'm a big tech guy. I mean, the silver spoon. I could think of a dozen of them. But for me, I would like to, I would address that age group and try to give them a direction, because I do believe there was a time where I looked at a lot of the youth that I'm like, man, we got problems, but we have so many good people in this country.
Yeah, we do.
They just need a little direction. It's not like you can't control the wind, but you can tweak the sails.
There you go. All right, go to coffee order.
I go to coffee order.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a black, like a venti or a black. Like
I didn't mention from where.
Yeah, I'm a coffee guy.
Is there any other way to drink coffee?
No, I just drink it.
Other than that, it's not coffee, right? Yeah, it's just black. That's it.
I'm a black coffee guy. My wife works part-time at Starbucks, so we get a free coffee a week. So that's what I do.
Yeah. Cubs or Sox?
What's interesting, right? So I'm an old Pepsi guy. So we had the pour at Wrigley Field for years. So I spent a lot of time at that ballpark. Grew up being a Cub fan. Kessinger, Banks, Kissinger, that team, right? Bernie Banks. My batting style when I played high school baseball in Mundelein was Ernie Banks. But I also worked on the south side of Chicago for Pepsi. So at the end of the day, I'm more of a Cubs fan, but I want them both to be successful, because I want everybody to win.
That is such a political answer.
Like I don't like, like a guy. We didn't like Carmel, but I want both schools to be successful.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did an interview once. I think I said something like that. I was being interviewed, and they're like, "That is the most political answer
it's a true
from a politician." But no, it's good. It's good. All right, what's a movie that you could watch over and over and over again?
Oh, Cinderella Man. It's a love story. It's not about fighting. It's a love story about family and somebody willing to make sacrifices for his kids and his wife. I try to explain that. And I like Silver Lining Playbook too, because it's really about adversity, but it's a different type of adversity, and it's so prevalent in our country today. Mental illness. We're not addressing it. Cinderella Man, I could just watch over and over, and I just love it because it's all about the family.
Love it. And go-to karaoke song.
Oh, I could do Stairway. I know do Stairway. Dire Maker, Led Zeppelin. Dire Maker. Can't think. Oh, Fulton County Prison with.
There you go.
Yeah, with Johnny Cash.
There you go. I love it. And last one. What are you reading right now?
What am I reading right now? Well, I get these reading assignments from Trustee Schwank. I'm reading Strong Cities now. It's I read a lot of books. I mean, not as much as I probably used to, but I'm a big believer you never stop learning. And just kind of chuckled. He gave me a little reading stuff. So I'm reading Strong Cities right now. So that's what I think Mundelein is. So I figure it's probably a good read.
Hey, it's got the name right there in it for you, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, Tim, I appreciate it. I appreciate taking the time, and look forward to keeping tabs and seeing what happens with you here. If people want more information about you, your campaign, how do they get in touch with you?
Sure, it's wilsonformundelein.com. or I'm on, everything's Wilson from Mundelein. I'm on Facebook, like, whatever I'm easy, again, I'm easy to find, but wilsonfrommundelein.com, or, want to email me a question, wilsonfrommundelein@gmail.com. But I'm on all the social media platforms as well.
Excellent. Excellent. So if you guys got questions for Tim, reach out to Tim. If he doesn't respond back to you, let me know and I'll go reach out to Tim. No,
Yeah,
he'll respond back to you. And apparently if you go to the beginning of this, you can find out his daily or weekly habits and know what restaurants and places it's going to be at. So you can just post up there and get him.
No, easy to find.
Easy to find. Well, I appreciate it, Tim. Thanks for your heart for Mundelein, and best of luck in this election. April 1st is election day. Guys, voter turnout is typically incredibly low. When it comes to municipal races, it's important to get out and vote. That's why I started doing these, so that we could introduce you, the community, to people that are running. And again, conversation doesn't equal endorsement, but I want you to know who's running and have an opportunity to hear directly from them.
Yeah.
So April 1st, get out and vote. Go to Tim all over Mundelein. Just track him down.
WilsonFromMundelein.com.
WilsonFromMundelein.com. Thanks, Tim.
All right, Chris. Thank you. All right. Take care.